certain drug traffickers that he was duty-bound to investigate. And that's what this jury found. The other counts relate to his obstruction of justice, related to various false reports and false statements he made along the way in perpetrating that conspiracy in counts 1 and counts 3. And so that is the crux of what he was convicted of today. Make no mistake, this jury determined he was a corrupt federal agent, and he violated his oath and duties to protect those that he should have been investigating and arresting. So.
We will take questions. Hi, Pat.
Hi. A question from the HSI official. You said that he's the only person who was a problem with the agency, but there were at least 2 or 3 DE agents who were not called to testify because the prosecution team told the judge they couldn't trust them. They were subject to target letters. Can you address that?
This is an ongoing investigation, so we're not going to be able to comment on that at this time.
Yes.
Hi, I had a question for Joe. I don't know if you've heard the comments of Bongiovanni's attorneys earlier. They said that they argued that the jury found him guilty of just making mistakes on paperwork. How would you respond to that?
I would say the elements of each of the crimes, in terms of count 1, it requires him to act with deceit and dishonesty. That was an element of the conspiracy in count 1. Count 3 required us to prove as an element that he agreed to, with others, to traffic controlled substances. The other counts 6, 7, 8, 10, all require him to have a corrupt intent, which means the jury rejected any notion of a mistake. Similarly, count 11 requires him to make a false statement knowingly and willingly, which again, by the jury's verdict, rejects any notion that this was a mistake. This was corruption through and through.
Hey, Charlie.
Are you, can I just ask, this is the second try here, and what did you guys do to sort of regroup and, come at this again, and how did that help you get, the result that you were looking for this time?
So I have 2 members of the trial team here, and I'll let either or both of them respond to that. Come on, Casey. No? Okay.
There was obviously certainly a lot of similarities between trial 1 and trial 2. If anything, we tried to shorten the trial a little bit. We did so, I think, by calling 8 fewer witnesses. Some of that was due in part to illnesses that happened during the trial, but we tried our best to streamline the case, even though it was a challenge because of the sprawling nature of the charged conspiracies. It didn't lend itself to streamlining too much, but that's what we tried to do.
And I just want to point out that this was a very important case, as I stated, because it's a federal law enforcement officer who we allege and now has been found to be corrupt, as well as a public corruption case. So the retrial was very important to show the public, to show this community, and to show anybody who might want to engage in this kind of conduct that we believe in the cases that we bring, and we will retry them if we need to. Yes.
One could argue that the public official accepting a bribe charge was maybe one of the most challenging charges to bring forth and prove. How disappointing is it that the jury found him not guilty on that charge?
We respect the verdict, the deliberations of the jury, and what they felt was the proper either to convict or not to convict. We're not disappointed at all in the outcome of this case, trial 1 or trial 2, because what we set out to do was to show that Joseph Bongiovanni was a corrupt federal agent, and we did that.
This went on for quite a few years, according to the court documents, before it was discovered. Are you confident that there's, new safeguards in place to prevent a rogue agent from acting like this in the future?
I am confident that no federal agency wants to ever see this happen again, and that knowing what happened and how it happened, that there are guardrails and safeguards in place to ensure that doesn't happen again. But listen, we're all human. right? And when you take an oath, we trust you to adhere to that oath. Most, as Zach Keegan said, most do. Most federal agents and people in the public trust do. But sometimes they don't. And when they don't, we're here to make sure that justice is done.
Why is sentencing 8 months from now? That seems like a length in time.
It's twofold. One is a really practical answer is the team that just tried this case in short order will be trying another case that will be of similar length. So we asked for a little bit of time because we're most familiar with the facts here and we'll need to make a robust presentation at sentencing. As well as post-verdict in any trial, the defense gets to make certain motions to take another attempt to convince the judge to, dismiss counts. So the defense wants time to file and prepare those motions, which they need transcripts from this trial to do. So all of that takes time. Usually sentencings get pushed out maybe 4 to 6 months, so this is a little longer than that. Thanks.
And how much time is he looking at?
That'll be a function of the federal sentencing guidelines, and there are a lot of factors that go into those. So we'll be parsing the trial transcripts ourselves, trying to look at all of the sentencing guidelines that are applicable to his conduct, so I don't have a good answer for you right now.
Joe, the absence of Ezekiel trial, was that a witness you had at the time? And did you ask him to testify and he refused?
I can't comment on that part. What I could comment on is the public filing of his plea agreement, which, as you may well know, he acknowledged that Bongiovanni passed along law enforcement sensitive information. The fact that he didn't cooperate is a well-known fact that played out at this trial.
The jury didn't get that, though.
The jury doesn't get to consider that, but it is part of the public record that you're aware of. Yeah.
I know each trial, has to be tried on its own merits, but do you think that this gives you, confidence going into the next race portion of this, which was,
So Charlie, I'm not going to comment on a pending litigation, so no comment.
Can you talk about what this case and this verdict says about the state of Italian organized crime in Buffalo?
I have thoughts, but I don't know how to answer.
I could say only what's in the public indictment at this point, and what came out at trial is that, the proof at trial was that there are still people who hold that reputation, and there was direct testimony that came out at this trial that Mike Misaki himself admitted he's a made man. That lends itself to an inference there that you can draw whatever inference you want.
What would be the
I would say in terms of any other pending investigation, I can't comment.
What would be the most jail time he could face based on the charges that he was convicted of?
20-year maximum.
Okay, last call. Well, thank you all for coming, and I want to say again to my trial team and everybody in this office, the federal agents we work with, the local law enforcement we work with, this was a hard-fought road to justice, but in the end we got there. So thank you.